Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are late to the show, but, you know, it is what it is. I don't know if you know this. Anthony Smith has a mega fight next week. I'm on the other side of the planet, so we apologize for being a day late with the free content that you're about to ingest. Anthony, let me ask you this, and welcome to the show, everybody. Final week of camp.
The final 2 days, bro.
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Oh, my God, dude. I'm like, this week has been great so far. It's only Tuesday, but I'm done tomorrow. So after we get off of here, got a quick little session I got to get in. And then I'm just coming back to my apartment and I'm just packing this thing up, getting my laundry done, getting everything, you know, all my bags put together, just start slowly packing stuff to the vehicle. And then I got 2 sessions tomorrow and we are out. I'm driving home. I am so excited.
No. Listen, for those people, I think I've spoke about this several times, but most people, they watch MMA, they've never prepared for an MMA fight, and certainly the magnitude of yours. You know, 5 rounds against a world-class competition in the UFC. You push your body to the absolute limit, and when you finish training, it's just like, it's like, now we got the easy part. Now we got the fight. What will be, will be. The hard part is in the gym. That's what separates the men from the boys, the champs from the contenders, your dangerous ones from your dildos.
It's been really hard, Mike. I think I've been doing a pretty good job of playing it off and just trying to keep on moving forward. But man, it's been the longest training camp I've ever done by far. You know, I guess when I was on the regional scene, you know, you're just training and then you go fight and then you just come back to the gym. So I'm like, you know, back then when I was younger, you're kind of always in the gym no matter what. But
yeah,
as far as like high level training camps, it's the longest one I've ever had. I have left no stone unturned. My weight is a problem right now because I'm too low. Like I'm too lean. Like
the believers were about to have a panic attack, as was I. I was like, don't tell me you're heavy again.
No, I'm really light. Like they're a little bit like, hey, you need to double your intake because your weight is just falling off. I can't keep it on. My conditioning is through the fucking roof. I'm strong. You know, like you said, what will happen will happen. But I've done every single thing I could possibly do. Like, you know, every once in a while, here and there, I think you'll have training camps where you're like, oh, you know, maybe I should have focused more on that, or maybe I could have done more of this. Like, there's nothing. I've done it all. There's no excuses. So, and
that's where the confidence comes from, because you know, when you're backstage in the locker room, right? Because you can fake confidence, you know what I mean? But deep down, when you're
not to yourself,
and when you're about to make that walk, right, and you can hear all the other fighters and they're getting brought into your room and they're bust up and he's got a bloody nose and someone's coming in, he doesn't know what day it is, they've been knocked out. You're like, shit, I didn't run as much as I said to my coach. I didn't stick to my diet. I was getting tired. Those last few rounds in sparring, all the demons start creeping in. But if you've ticked every box, if you've done it all the way it needs to be done, you've left no stone unturned, then it literally is. You're confident and you can say, listen, well, it's destiny now. You know,
what will be, will be. Yeah, what will be, will be. It is what it is at this point. I've done everything I can do. And honestly, freeing, very free feeling. Like, I'm not worried about anything he's doing because I've covered it all. Like we've covered every single one of his strengths. We've tried to grow in every one of his weaknesses. We've tried to get as strong as we could to deal with his size and trying to get my conditioning to the peak level so that even if he is stronger and even if he is better, maybe I have the worst day of my life and Johnny Walker technically has the best day of his life. My conditioning is in a place where it doesn't matter. I'll just break him. I'll make him tired. You know, like that's where I'm at mentally. So like, I just feel so free. Like I don't really give a fuck what happens. Like, let's just go in there, max effort, 100%. And it, you know, got bumped to co-main. So it's only 3 rounds. I can go, I can put my foot on the gas and just go for 3 rounds. Like I don't have to manage my output. I can just go. And that's a freeing feeling. You know, got to make sure that I mind my P's and Q's, and especially early, and make sure that I don't catch, something wild or crazy. And because he is a powerful, athletic dude that's explosive, and I'm sure him and his coaches have a great game plan, but so do I. And I'm just ready, man. I'm so excited. I don't know that I've been this excited in a long time.
I can feel it. You do seem excited. I mean, you've probably still got some endorphins running through your system from training.
Yeah,
it's going to wear off throughout the show. Harrington's going to bring you down. He's going to talk some nonsense. Brian's going to come out with several conspiracy theories, and by the end of this, you're going to be like, "Get me off this show." But right now, you're popping. Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. Hey, let me ask you this. Obviously, last time out against Ankalaev, you broke your leg. Didn't go your way. Does that bring in? Do you feel pressure? Because obviously you want to be the champ. And had you beaten Ankalaev, you were right there, right? Probably next in line for a title shot or whatever. That puts you back a little bit, Yeah. How's the mind? I know you're confident. I know you've done the training. But in terms of pressure, what you're feeling, how's that?
I don't, surprisingly, I don't feel a lot of pressure. I know what this fight means in the division, especially right now. It's kind of wide open. And I think the winner, I think whoever wins this fight's going to get a lot out of it, whether that's a title shot, whether that's a mega fight with Alex Pereira, whether there's a bunch of things going on. I don't know, man. I don't feel I haven't really, when you're getting ready for a fight, you always think about the benefits and the spoils of a win. Then you also kind of think about some guys, they force themselves to not think about the negative. Like, well, what happens if this happens? What happens if I lose? I haven't even really considered that. Because I've spent this entire training camp just worried about myself and the problems that Johnny Walker brings to the table. I think when you start inserting the man and the person is where the pressure would come in for me. I can't lose to Johnny Walker. I've said a lot of things about him in the past.
Is that how you feel? You can't lose to Johnny Walker?
I can't lose to Johnny Walker.
Do you feel that affects your stock if you do?
I do.
Obviously,
I think it's less about my career, more like my public perception, to be honest with you. It's as far as my career.
Am I reading this right? Because listen, Johnny Walker burst onto the scene with a tremendous amount of hype and talent, right? The knockouts he was getting super early on, but then he's had mixed results. And this is what people used to say about him. Say, Bisping, he was a great fighter. But any big fights or the truly elite, he couldn't beat them. Do you feel that the perception may be, and I don't want to put these doubts into your mind, but the perception might be, if I lose to Johnny Walker, then people are going to start writing me off as a future champion?
Yeah, that 100%. And I've said those things about Johnny Walker. He is going to be able to beat a lot of those guys 5 to 15. 5 and below, 6 and below, 7 and below. Yeah. He'll beat a lot of those guys. It's some of them it's a coin flip, and he gets a little bit wild and crazy. He gets caught. He can catch people, but him and guys like Ryan Spann have had a hard time busting into the elite level of the division. Well, Johnny Walker beats me, then that means I'm not in the elite level of the division, and that's a problem. That's a problem, and it's a little bit dangerous because he is one of those guys, but he is so athletic and so explosive and so fast and so big and strong that he could, if you let that guy slip behind the wire, he could knock out any of us in the top 5. And so that's where the pressure comes. It's just making sure that I don't do anything stupid. That's if it's just.
Oh, I'm nervous for you, buddy. I can't wait. I tell you what, Hamilton and Brian, are you around next Saturday when the fight is on? We will do a live watch along on the YouTube channel. We'll do a live watch along.
I won't be there.
We won't be there, sadly.
A little busy?
We expect a FaceTime in as soon as you're done whooping his ass.
Right.
But Harrington and Brian, let's organize that. Let's get a thumbnail done. And
sure.
We'll follow that through. We'll get that
absolutely
done. Anyway, we have quite the show planned for you today. We are joined very, very shortly by the one, the only. Some may say the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's got a huge fight this weekend for ONE FC against Adriano Moraes, I think it is. And he's just had such a wonderful career, fought all over the world. So looking forward to talking to him. We had a lot of action at the weekend. Bare-knuckle boxing. Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. I felt sorry for Mike Perry. There was a lot of action went down there Saturday night. I mean, I picked Rockhold to win, you know. I think I underestimated Mike Perry. Mike Perry really has come into his own. I mean, listen, Rockhold landing a couple of good shots in the first round, but the nonstop pressure of Perry just makes it hard for somebody like Rockhold to relax. You know what I mean? And then, of course, you know, there's no gloves on, and he cut all his lip. I mean, his mouth was a mess. He had his teeth all cracked in, and then that was it. They called it off. What were your thoughts?
I had Mike Perry picked to win. And it's nothing really against Luke. You know, I think I started to tell this the last time I was on, but I ran into Luke here in Denver a couple times. He came out and I talked to Perillo, hung out with him a little bit. You know, they came out about a month early to get acclimated to the altitude, and you know he looked really good. You know, at strength and conditioning, he was hitting mitts there too. He looked really smooth. But Luke's whole MMA game has been based around his ability to kick. You know, he manages distance with his kicks. He backs people off with power kicks. His whole game is built around it. So it's the same problem I think he had in the Blachowicz fight, where
I'm listening. I am listening.
Oh, you're fine. Blachowicz is probably the number one kick defender in the UFC. I will say that till I'm blue in the face. Like, he was able to deal with Adesanya's kicks. He was able to deal with Luke Rockhold's kicks. Ankalaev's. He just does a really good job. And so then Luke started running into problems because he couldn't get his kicking game going. So in bare knuckle, without the ability to kick, Luke's never been known as a big puncher. So I thought Perry Perry doesn't give a shit. He just wades in the range. Luke has notoriously had some bad defense at times. And Mike Perry, if your defense is a little bit suspect and maybe your durability a little bit suspect and he can't kick, I just didn't see, short of a miracle, I didn't see Luke winning.
It's a really good point what you said, because when I watched it, and by the way, I'm in bloody Spain, so it was not easy to find it, you know, sure. But his arms, I can't even do it, right? His defense was so wide open. Yeah. It's bare knuckle boxing. You will get your face cut up big time, as we saw. You will get your teeth cracked, as we saw. You got to have a tight defensive guard. You know what I'm saying? He was way out there. His arms were far too wide like this. And
well, he's not built like that either. And this isn't a knock on Rockhold. You know, I think that there's three different types of fighters. There's competitors, there's athletes, and then there's just full on just dog fighters. Mike Perry is a dog fighter. That's just how he is, you know. And you know, I would say, you know, a guy like Demetrius Johnson, like, fantastic competitor. That's just how he is. But Luke is not a fighter. That's just not who he's. Pretty and clean, crazy. He's technical.
A show pony.
Yeah, he's a hell of a hammer if he gets going. Yeah. He's never been a very good nail. That's just how he is. He's
just undermining the biggest win of my career, but it's okay.
No, I don't mean
I'm literally joking.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's not good. He's just not built for bare knuckle.
Yeah, no.
You can be as clean. I mean, look at MVP. Mike Perry beat the dog shit out of MVP too. There's no one saying that MVP's not a great fighter.
As you said, he's a dog. He's built different. I'm a massive fan of the guy, by the way. I think he's hilarious. We had him on the podcast, though, and he was very reserved. I was so disappointed. You know, he didn't bring the Perryness. Yeah, anytime.
Wait, back up. Hold on. Not to cut you off. Luke Rockhold is the biggest win of your career?
Easy fuck. But you know what I mean? It's when I won the belt.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Anderson's got to be like the biggest win, right?
Yeah.
That's huge. But anyways, sorry.
Yeah, where? Yeah, no, Perry came on and he was like very normal.
He was probably sober.
Dude. Yeah. He was just intimidated by the greatness, you know. What can I tell you? But has to be. Do you know who else doesn't care? Who was in attendance? Notorious Conor McGregor. Oh God, what? I mean, yeah.
I wonder how Dana felt about that. I
don't know how we would have felt either. I mean, who knows? I think Dana at this point, he's done it for so long. He doesn't get emotionally. I mean, we've seen him, you know, get mad sometimes, but he's seen it, done it all. But I don't know about the biggest star in the organization stepping in. I don't know. Maybe he didn't care, Or maybe it was like, what are you doing, Conor?
Right. With the
why
BKFC belt on his shoulder.
BKFC belt on your shoulder, staring down with the champion. Oh my God.
I guess bare knuckle's not like a real competitor with the UFC anyways. So it probably doesn't matter.
There's no competitors to the UFC. There really isn't.
No,
but there it is. There it is.
Look how big Mike Perry looks though.
Yeah. And that's next to the refrigerator freezer Conor McGregor. So it has.
What's the testing situation like in BKFC?
I think they can both juice to the gills. I have no idea.
I think they do test. And if you don't have enough steroids in your system, they make you take more.
Yeah. So it's like Pride. But did you ever see there was a clause of a contract in Pride going around recently? Mm-hmm. And it said, you will be tested for this, that, and the other. You will not be tested for performance enhancing drugs. So take as many as you want.
Yeah, steroids are fine. Marijuana's not.
I think isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? So, you can have as many beers or vodka as you want. But
a bunch of PFL guys just popped too. Thiago Santos just failed his PED test.
No, did he really?
Yeah, Thiago Santos, that Jocko kid that moved up to 205 in the PFL.
Christoph Jocko?
Yeah, Jocko.
Really?
245ers and somebody else. 5 people from their last show tested positive for PEDs.
Wow. Do you think that's because they leave the UFC, not all of them, but some of them, and they're not involved or enrolled in the USADA program anymore?
That has to be.
So they think, we're good. We're good. Talking about other fighters and misfortune, I'm on a BT Sport group text. I've just got one here. Breaking news. Bryce Mitchell is out of his fight this weekend against Movsar Evloev with an undisclosed injury. Diego Lopes will replace Bryce Mitchell on 5 days' notice. So that's a shame. It's another hit for the card this weekend.
Did you see the picture of him, Brian? I don't know if you can find it or
that's
whatever.
Where I was going.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was like an ice bath. Yeah, it was in an ice bath, and he had this. It looked too purple to be a bruise. I don't know what it was, but it was this.
It looked like a weird tattoo of a tarantula or something on his shoulder.
Yeah, I don't know what it looked like, powder or something, like all up on his neck and shoulder. And so I seen that going around. So that's not actually that big of a surprise. Like, I don't know why you would post that. Like, be like the rest of us and hide your injuries like a man.
I'm looking for the picture right now, but I did see it yesterday, and somebody said that it looked like healing powder for horses. I'm not a ranch guy, so I don't know what that is, but
I'm a country guy. I've never heard of
it. Yeehaw! I got 2 horses. I'm Bryce Mitchell. If y'all out of y'all fight, that's a shame because Bryce Mitchell's in a tough position. I mean, because he got smoked last time. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. So he wanted to rebound in style. Well, listen, I hope for the best. How long we got? I think we've got a few minutes. Oh, let's have a look at this. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, what is that? That's weird. I mean, undisclosed. Well, that's pretty disclosed to me.
It has to be that. It has to be something related to that. I mean, that seems. I'm only basing it on the purple on his body, whilst I'm wearing a purple shirt, but some kind related to blood. I'm like, I don't know.
It's weird.
I don't know.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't really care about the injury. I want to know what that shit is.
All right, guys, let's talk about FitBod really quick. Listen, FitBod, what is it? I'll tell you right now. It is a fantastic workout app. It's like having a personal trainer on your phone. It will show you thousands of different exercises, all in HD videos. It costs less than a single session with a personal trainer than what it does for a year. And this will keep you maximizing your workout, staying in shape, not getting bored, not hitting plateaus. Listen, you go to the gym, you're fed up of your usual routine, you're not sure what to do, FitBod takes care of all of that. You just pick a fitness goal, you add your equipment, and FitBod will create a workout routine for you. So whether you've been missing the gym or you've hit a plateau, as I said, a fresh start has never been easier. The app switches up your exercises to avoid overtraining and burnout, and your program changes based on your personal progress for maximized results. So as I said, doesn't matter where you are, whether it's the weight room or a bedroom, FitBod has a plan for you. And as I said, you learn new movements the right way with over 1,400 high-definition demonstration videos. And to top it all off, one more time, a full year of FitBod is less than the cost of a single session with a personal trainer. So realistically, if you like to work out and you need something fresh, you need a bit of motivation, you need a bit of inspiration, you need a bit of, what's another Asian? I don't know. Constipation, listening to me talk nonsense. Listen, you got to join Fitbod today and build a routine that lasts all year. And there's a tremendous offer. As always, we've got your back. 25% off your subscription, or you can try it out for free. Free. Try the app out for free at fitbod.me/believe. You will not regret this, I'm telling you. I mean, come on. You can try it out for free, for crying out loud. If that doesn't tell you how much confidence they have in their product, I don't know what does. So, one more time, fitbod.me/believe. Get 25% off your subscription, or try the app out for free at fitbod.me/believe. Harrington, show yourself. Brian, show yourself. 4-shot, please. How we doing, everybody? It's the last show. Well, it's the last week before Anthony goes off to war. You know, he's going to go to battle. He's going to put it all on the line. So if I ask you for a story, Harrington, we need something good. You can't disrespect Anthony Lionheart-Smith's time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have?
All right. How about the woman who spent $8,000 to fly her dogs private to New York City?
Yeah, I did see that one in the notes. $8,000 to fly a dog's private. I mean, why is that? Give us some context.
So they gave her a quote to fly them in cargo. And I guess for the 2 dogs, it would have cost around $10,000. So she looked into it, and it's actually there's a company that rents out private jets. And they did like a big thing for animals that are heading over. And she found out that, after all was said and done, she could get them over for $8,000 with the 2 of them just by taking this ride share on a private jet. Hold
on, where was the flight to? Like LA to New York or something?
It was to New York. I believe it was from London to New York.
Oh, right. So an international flight.
That's pretty cheap.
I was going to say for a private jet. Listen, I don't know about flying on private jets. Okay, actually, I do. I'll get to that in a minute. But I mean, you're booking a private jet. I've never flown. I have flown private, but that's the only reason being there's a company called Jet Suite X. Do you know Jet Suite X?
Huh.
It flies out of certain airports in Southern California. I sound all bougie now. I'm not. Trust me. Brian, you could do this in a minute. If you look up JSX, Jet Suite X, you can fly from, they only go to a few places, short haul, like to Vegas. Mm-hmm. It's like $100 more than a regular ticket. And it's a private jet. And it's just like a ride share. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the only time I've flown private. But to fly actual private, you're talking hundreds of grand, I would have thought.
I thought like a private, even like a domestic flight in the U.S., like a private jet, like a private flight is like 20 grand.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's got to be at least. So that's surprising. I remember when we moved out to America, we had a German Shepherd, Tito, at the time. Mm-hmm. And we flew him out here. We had to fly him cargo. It did not cost anything near that. I mean, he flew better than us. We went via Atlanta or something like that on like the crappiest airline known to man. He came direct on Virgin with all the Dolly Birds serving him coffee. But I think it only cost a couple of grand. That's just crazy. $10,000 for 2 dogs to fly cargo is insane. What's that, Brian?
Yeah, what's this?
This is a flight with Jet SX from Austin, Texas to Colorado, and
right, $429.
It's
what's the difference? I wonder what the difference between hop on and all in is.
Hop on just means get. Do you know the good thing is about this service? You literally don't have to show up to the airport till 10 minutes before the flight. You walk up to. I swear to God, you don't have to go through security. Bit of a risk.
Yeah.
you don't have to risky. There's no lines. There's no nothing. There's a little thing. You sit there. You have your coffee or whatever. You walk through a metal detector straight on the plane. The service is amazing, and it's not much more than a regular flight. So if it's available in your area, guys, and you fly a lot, you might want to check that out.
Yeah, no security, you say?
No security. Any flights to Mexico? Might start bringing back cocaine. You ever flown private, Anthony? I know a lot of fighters these days are doing it.
Really? No, I've never flown private. Brian, look up. Is there any Jet SX flights from Omaha to Charlotte?
No. Look up a price of a private jet, because the Jet Suite X thing is going to come in at just normal. Because Henry Cejudo just touched down in Newark, New Jersey. Obviously, they got the big fight this weekend, the pay-per-view. We'll talk about that. I'll ask Demetrius Johnson about that as well. I'm very curious to see what he thinks, having shared the octagon with Cejudo twice. Cejudo's flying everywhere on private jets these days. So's Masvidal. So's a bunch of other fighters, man. I mean, I think they must have a sponsor, because they ain't paying for that.
There's got to be. There's got to be some sort of sponsor. Brian, did you find a private flight from Omaha to Charlotte that the BYM wants to pay for?
Yeah. I'm trying to. I got to book it first, so give me just 2 minutes.
Okay. I've told this before. The only other, and this is a name drop and a half. We're going to get into the MMA stuff because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. This is a name drop. But when I was promoting Triple X, I was down in Brazil when I filmed that movie with Vin Diesel, and we have a good weekend. We promote it, and then Sunday morning, I get an email saying that my flight's been cancelled because of the weather and all the rest of it. I'm like, for crying out loud. And then I get a knock on the door by Vin's security guard. He's like, Mr. Diesel wants to know if you would like to escort him on his private jet home. We leave in an hour. I'm like, you bet your ass I do, because my flight just got cancelled. So that's the only time, I've ever flown private. It was great, you know what I mean? But so what, at the end of the day? You're still getting from A to B. You know what I mean?
It's pretty cool. That's super cool.
It is cool, but I would not spend, well, he didn't. Well, I don't know. I don't want to get into his finances, but I think it's the studios in those situations, because a flight from Brazil, I think that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would think so. It's not cheap, unless you're a billionaire, unless you're a bloody, oil tycoon,
right?
Or potentially the greatest of all time. And you're not flying private. Demetrius, we're just talking about flying private on private jets. Have you known this luxury?
I have not. I've only flown it once, and a buddy of mine invited me, and it was one time.
Yeah.
How was it? Was it great?
Yeah, it was great. We didn't have to, there was no security line. We basically just walked on the tarmac and went in and jumped in there. We had our own stewardess for ourselves. It was pretty dope, So
yeah.
I only did it once. But Michael, you're a movie star. You should be able to do that all the time. Right?
Oh, shut up. Yeah, right. You want to see the flight? I'm actually filming a movie right now in Tenerife. The final, the flight here was not good. it was not private. It was not luxurious. I was like in the bloody middle seat in economy, flying in the final bit. Yeah, trust me, I ain't flying private. How the bloody hell are you, Demetrius?
I'm good, man.
One of the last times I saw you might have been, where were we flying? We were flying back from somewhere, and I think I might have fallen asleep, and you were making fun of me or something.
We were going to Montreal. You were fighting. Who did you fight for that card?
CB Dalloway.
CB Dalloway?
Yeah.
You fought CB Dalloway, and I fought Kyoji Horiguchi, and we shared our locker room together. And I have a picture of you in your underwear. You're like, yeah.
Oh, that's it.
But yeah, that's where we were traveling together.
Yeah. Listen, man, congrats on all your success. Congrats on everything, Demetrius. I think at the time when a lot of people, obviously there was the trade, wasn't there, between Ben Askren and yourself, and you went out there and you have continued to do incredible things. Known as one of the greatest of all time in mixed martial arts. That is just such a phenomenal thing to be said about someone. You're 36 years old. I know you got a big fight coming up this weekend. There's potentially rumors it's going to be your last. But when you look back on your career, Demetrius, how enriching has it been for you?
It's been great. I've done a lot of big things in mixed martial arts. The championship run in UFC, coming over to one championship, winning World Grand Prix, becoming a champion. Amazing finishes, being able to share locker rooms with great people like yourself. We saw co-play together. Just be able to travel as an athlete. And
we did.
To be able to make a living is, I've been blessed and been grateful.
How's it been fighting over in one? I know that the fans over there seem to be more in tune with, I guess, guys that have styles like yours that are very, very technical and there's just so much it blows my mind watching you fight because there's so much happening in, like, if you do 10 things, I might be able to do one of them, maybe in the entire fight. You'll do 10 in one round that I can't even do. But like, do you appreciate their appreciation more, or would you have craved more the UFC lights and all of that kind of stuff?
No, I think they appreciate my skill set a lot more. I mean, I think that's always how it's been in, Asian martial arts. And with one champion, it's not just based on mixed martial arts. It's Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA. You got submission wrestling. We've also had, one world WBC boxing fight. So I think they appreciate the smaller weight classes too, because you have the Muay Thai guys like Rod Tang, you have John Haggerty. So there's a lot more emphasis on the smaller weight classes over here than it was in, the UFC.
I was looking at your record, and you fought in the Philippines, in Japan, in Singapore. Obviously, I think that's where they're based, right? That's where their head office is.
Yep.
Talk to me about the differences. I mean, Anthony kind of touched on it there, but it's always known that maybe Pride, they were all very quiet and respectful and all the rest of it. But what are some of the other key differences to fighting over in Asia to, say, America are?
Yeah, I would say definitely the time difference. To get to Singapore, it's about 18-hour flight. So, and you're fighting on their time zone. So before I would go out there 14 days prior to get adjusted to the time zone. But then after that, I was like, I can't take this much time away from the family, the long travel. It's a lot. That's probably the biggest thing. Obviously, the food. Japan has amazing food. When you go to Thailand or even the Philippines, you got to be a little bit careful because you don't want to get sick over there.
Oh, no, Thailand's the best. The food's amazing.
Not this. The food is amazing, but when you're dieting, trying to find, chicken breasts that have been doused in all the delicious, that stuff is
spices.
Very hard. Yeah, the spices. It's very hard. So for me, fighting in America, fighting in Colorado, it's been great. I'm going down the street, getting a nice chicken breast with, Caesar salad. It's been good. So, but I truly enjoyed traveling over there and competing. And I'm not saying that this would be my last time going over to compete, whether it be jiu-jitsu or it could be something else.
I love that. So you obviously reigned over the flyweight division forever in the UFC. And then there was a time there where there was a lot of uncertainty and not sure where the division was going to go. And obviously it's flourishing now, and it's an amazing division. Has it been fun for you to kind of watch those guys really grow it or do you have a little bit of, I don't want to say like animosity towards it, but do you like watching it grow and like watching those guys be able to have those opportunities? Or is there a party that's like, man, where was this shit when I was there?
No, 1,000%. No animosity whatsoever. I'm so happy for Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo, Kaya France. I'm glad that division is thriving because it gives people who are my size the opportunity to be able to make a living in North America on one of the biggest stages. So for me, I always say, I want to see everybody eat. They ain't got to eat at my table, but if I look at your table and I see you eating good, I'm happy for you. And, now I don't even compare myself with those guys because they're fighting at 125. I can't make that weight anymore. Even if I did it, I probably couldn't make it dehydrated, but I just wouldn't put myself up to that. So now when I look at, the North America's counterpart, I look at, the 130. I'm looking at Alger. I'm looking at Henry. I'm looking at, Peter Yan, Cody Sandhagen. I'm more focused on those guys than I am with the flyweight division because I do fight at 135 now.
Yeah. So that's interesting because obviously you still keep an eye on it. You still watch and consume the UFC and keep an eye on all your peers, so to speak. Talk to me about, because I've never had it explained to me properly, what is the situation with the weigh-ins and the rehydration clauses and the rules that are involved with ONE FC? Yeah,
so prior, I'm going to take you back to the very infancy stage when they first administered this testing, the hydration. So in the beginning, it was just like everything else. Show up, you could be weighed 135, absolutely dehydrated, doesn't matter. Now they implemented the hydration test. So what they do is, this is prior to COVID-19, you would weigh in 2 times. So let's say the fight is on Saturday. You would weigh in Thursday, you weigh in Friday, and you fight Saturday. And both those days you would weigh in. Before you get to weigh in, you get to test your hydration. How they test your hydration, there's a tool, it's called a refractometer. And what it does, it measures the solids and the gravity of your urine. So obviously the more stuff you have in it means the more dehydration you are, the more clear, that's how I gauge it. The more clear the urine.
Little strips, you piss on them, right?
Well, no, it's actually a little tool. I have it in my my bathroom. I was gonna go get it, but I don't want to run and grab it. Like, this is what it is. So it can tell. I'll do it real quick so you guys know.
Do it. There he is.
It sounds like it's very similar to what USADA does.
How fast is he going to be, though? Because he is Mighty Mouse. He's very fast. And here he comes to save the day. That was quick.
Yeah,
that was really fast.
So this is called refractometer.
I'll time you. Go.
It's right here. So what you do.
You say that to your kids, Anthony. You say that, Demetrius.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you want your kids to do something, I'll time you. Go upstairs by the side of my bed. And there's my phone.
Oh, yeah.
I did all the time.
That's how my wife gets the kids to go away.
Good job, sir. Good job.
Yeah. Nice. Sorry, Demetrius.
No worries. So I don't have a sandwich to produce, but so this is pure water, right? So it's pure water. You turn this thing on, and right now it's waiting for a read. You probably can't really see it. It's waiting for a read. So when I put this in here, come on.
It's really interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Sorry again. Took too long to do it. But this it reads the gravity of what's in the sample. So you start again. It's ready. Put it in here. This should be 0.0000. Get away from the light. Here we go. So right now, this is pure water, which it reads all 0, right?
Yep.
So let's say you have something that's a little bit darker. Like let's say you have, you're absolutely dehydrated, you're pissing Mountain Dew orange or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's going to read, 1.6 or whatever. And there's a certain limit. It's supposed to be 1.0250 is the limit. If it's 1.0251, then you're dehydrated and you cannot weigh in. You have to go back and pass hydration, and then you can weigh in. Before COVID, you would have to do it 2 times. So somebody who would fight, if I was to do this in, try to make 125 twice back-to-back in hydration, that means I'll be fighting closer to that weight.
Right.
And now after COVID-19, they transitioned to just do it once. So you weigh in, you test hydration one time, and then you weigh in, and then the following day you would fight. And then there's a rehydration clause. You can't gain more than 10%. I think it's 5 to 10% of your weigh-in weight. So if I was to weigh in at 135, I can't blow up to like 165. I would get penalized. So they're trying
sorry, Anthony.
They're just trying to make people fight closer to their natural weight.
Yeah, of course.
Do they fine you if you come in heavier than that 10%?
I think the first one is a warning, and then the second is a fine.
No kidding.
So you get a warning. That's the first time, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, you could just say, listen, I'm still going to cut weight. I'm still going to push myself because all I'm going to get is a warning.
Yeah. Well,
and then the second time you might get a fine. If you continue to do it, then they'll cut your contract.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing that One Championship does that I love is that they force their athletes to go up. So for a good example, John Haggerty, amazing Muay Thai. He's the Muay Thai champion at featherweight now. He used to fight at 135, but in his previous 2 or 3 outings, he couldn't make the weight. He would have medical issues. And then they're like, that's it. Like, you're done. You're going up to 145 now. And look, he's a world champion there. He looks healthier. He moves better. Same with, there was another gentleman, Adahachi, which was the kickboxing bantamweight champion. He couldn't make the weight anymore, so they forced him to move up. So, and remember, these guys are making it hydrated, right? So if they can't make the weight hydrated or their kidneys are failing, they're like, okay, you're moving on up. And that's what I love about One is that they want the best health for the athletes, what's going to be better for them.
And certainly if you're hydrated, you're going to perform better. Because I saw some clips the other day of you versus Rod Tang. It's like a little reel on Instagram. Obviously, it had been edited out, so it only showed the action. But my God, you guys were throwing down like savages.
Yeah,
Talk to me about that experience. For those that don't know, you did 1 round Thai boxing with an absolute legend of Muay Thai, and then 1 round mixed martial arts, right?
Yep. So it was first round was Muay Thai, second round was MMA. If it went to the 3rd or the 4th, it went back to Muay Thai, then went back to mixed martial arts. And they said, if nobody finishes nobody, it goes as a draw, right? And so I was like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, if I get out the Muay Thai rounds, and if I couldn't get him to the ground in the second round, then we'll go 3rd and 4th, and it's a draw. And I was like, okay, that's good. And I was like, nah, fuck that. I want to finish. And so the first round was rough. You know, Rodtang's a beast, great hands, hits hard. And I was able to weather the storm. And, you know, the game plan was to run, like avoid fighting. But I told Matt, I was like, nah, dog, I'm not gonna let somebody bully me. I'm gonna fight. You know, try to fight. If I get knocked out, hey, at least I tried. And we got to the first, and then the second, it was in my world, mixed martial arts, and I was able to get in the ground and get that choke.
Man, I really like the open-mindedness of one, where it's, you know, do something different with the weight cutting stuff, and let's try to battle this a little. And then mixed rules fights, and, you know, there's always like a talk of co-promotions where, like, it's not just a closed door every time, you know. Like, I really like. Do you feel like, I don't know, like, it seems like it probably fits you a little bit better. Like, you kind of just, I don't know, you've done the regular MMA UFC kind of journey for a long time. Like, it seems like when you went to one, it like rejuvenated you. You just seemed like you were much happier once you got there. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say it's 1,000% accurate. I mean, obviously, once again, it's the home of martial arts. And the fact that, you know, I did have a long tenure with the UFC, which is playing mixed martial arts, MMA. And it was me and Henry Cejudo. You know, Joseph was still there. There was no Figueiredo. There was no Kai France. There was none, you know, there was none of those.
No Aljamain.
No Aljamain. There was none of those guys. I mean, Aljamain was 135, but I wasn't fighting at the time. But it wasn't where it was today. So when I left that division, you know, it was still, you look at it, it's still Henry still winning, beating people, still just one of the big dogs. With me.
Well. Let me stop you right there. He's been retired for 3 years, brother. But that is the perfect segue to this weekend. Obviously, massive fight card, Newark, New Jersey. Bantamweight title on the line. Henry Cejudo coming back. I don't need to tell you because I know you've got a great relationship with Henry, which, by the way, is so cool to see. I love it every time I see those little clips, you know, former opponents being so close and sharing techniques and things. It's beautiful. That's what martial arts is supposed to be. So you know Henry so well. When you look at Aljamain Sterling, you're a fan of the sport still. You still, you know, consume the UFC. What do you see happening this weekend?
So, you know, obviously I'm going for Henry, but the biggest thing that Henry's going to have to overcome and battle through is him being off for 3 years. Aljamain Sterling is the bigger bantamweight and taller. And I do give Aljamain Sterling the grappling advantage. Now, grappling is different than wrestling. So if Aljamain Sterling is able to do what he does best, which is get on people's back, lock up that body triangle, flatten Henry out, beat him up, and look for a choke, we can see and still we can see Aljamain Sterling beating Henry Cejudo. So Henry's got to go out there, be fast, use his footwork, use his feints, and, you know, use his wrestling to get where he wants, but ultimately look for that knockout. Like, that's what Henry needs to do. And Aljo's got to be unorthodox. Wild punches, wild kicks, push the pace, get him against the cage, and try to get his back.
If Aljamain Sterling can't take down Henry Cejudo, can he still beat him?
I don't think so, no. Henry's too fast on the feet. He moves better on his feet. I mean, obviously it's a fight. Fight's a fight. Anything can happen, right? But Henry's so good at judging distance that I think Aljo's going to have a hard time dealing with the way Henry controls distance.
Looking forward to it. I can't wait. So hold on. So you're giving mixed emotions there, but who have you got? you just gave a case for both men. I'm like, so who's winning? Oh, he's hung up.
My bad. Sorry.
Don't put me on the fence.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, go on. But who would your official pick be? You got Henry?
My official pick would be Henry Cejudo. My official pick is Henry Cejudo. And that's a biased pick. I mean, even though it wasn't, it's a biased pick. But when I look at the two athletes, you know, they both can absolutely win. Like, they both have the skill set to beat each other. But what I gave before giving my pick was, as an analyst, which I hope I can do after I'm done fighting, is when I look at them, it's like, okay, well, these are the strengths and the weaknesses of both these gentlemen. In order for Aljo to succeed, this is what he needs to do. In order for Henry Cejudo to succeed, he needs to do this. This is what's going to happen. My pick is for Henry Cejudo. Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, as I say. You know, I am jealous that you got to fight in Japan and you fight out in Asia, because I started off doing Japanese jiu-jitsu, so I've always had an affinity with Japan, and I've never, ever got to visit there. So,
what? Yeah. Even to this day?
I've never been to Japan.
Oh man, we gotta get you out here.
I know.
Do a movie or something. I don't know, something.
He said,
You ever been to Japan, Anthony?
No, but you know what I do? You know what I do love? I love DJ's little like subtle little. Well, come on, you're doing a movie. Do a movie there or something. Because that's what I do. That's what I do to Michael too. Like, oh, okay, sorry, movie.
I'll just call my agent and be like, yeah, guys. Let's book a movie in Japan. Want to visit, want to see some temples. Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that. They tell me to go fuck myself most of the time. So, listen, are you still in Washington? You still live up there?
Yep. Still in Washington, training at AMC with Matt Hume. Still same gym.
And talk to me, because obviously this is a tough career. It's a tough business. You've been involved at the highest level for so long. So many years, I mean, when's the first time you won a UFC belt? 2011, I think?
2012.
2012.
You fought Brian Stan, I believe. Yeah. And then that's funny. You mentioned it before, Anthony. So you were fighting Joseph Benavidez. Mm-hmm.
He was fighting Joseph Benavidez. I was fighting Brian Stan. And the UFC PR department got us tickets to Coldplay. So I went with one of my cornermen. We went to the Coldplay concert. It was awesome. And this is truly the essence of martial arts, really. It's not about bloody, it's competitive rivalry, but it's nothing personal. Demetrius is there with Joseph Benavidez at a Coldplay concert together, holding hands, holding lighters in the air, sharing hugs and kisses. I mean, I was like, what is going on? We're fighting on Saturday.
Oh, I never forget that. Awesome. You're like, you fucking peasants on it, holding each other. When are you guys gonna make out and get a room together? Like, hey, don't hate. We're having a good time. And like you said, that's the essence of martial arts. I've had nothing but respect for all my opponents. And, some of my opponents will be friends, but some of my opponents, we're not going to be friends. But never animosity to any of my opponents whatsoever. Like, I want the best for them, and we're out there to see who the best man is.
You've never had any kind of, I don't know, any kind of real beef with anybody?
Not really.
Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I think the most I ever got to a point was probably John Dodson, and that was just because he was saying I was a born fighter. Then we fought the second time, but even leading up to the second fight, he lost his phone, and I found it, and I was like, hey, this is John Dodson, please give it to him. Instead of anybody else of like dick pics and butt pics or whatever, I gave it to someone, they got it to him, and after the fight, he goes, hey, man, I appreciate you finding my phone. I meant a lot. I was like, absolutely, dude. And John Dodson, he's doing great. He's about to fight in Ryzen. So all the people I fought, I still follow. Like TOG, John Dodson, he fought at bare-knuckle. He's won twice, about to go to Ryzen. So I'm super happy for him, and I'm wishing him for the best for him.
Yeah, but let's be honest. John Dodson can be annoying. And I say that with respect.
Yeah. I'm sure people say the same thing about me. It's like, that motherfucker don't stop talking. His laughs obnoxious. Like,
yeah. No. When I coached the Ultimate Fighter against Jason Miller, he was on Miller's team. And he kept jumping on me. He was on my leg one time. He was humping my leg and all sorts. He's only having a laugh when I say he's annoying. Nothing personal. He's a great guy. So you're fighting this Saturday. I'm assuming you're in Singapore right now?
No. So we're fighting Friday. It's One Championship's U.S. debut, Denver, Colorado.
Of course.
And it's sold out. So I'm super excited about it, man.
Where was that again?
Denver, Colorado.
It's in Denver. It's here.
Denver. Wow.
Yeah. I'm in Denver right now, finishing up training camp.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been here since April 18th. So just trying to get myself the proper preparation for the altitude, so finding altitude.
Could you tell a big difference when you got here?
Oh yeah, huge difference. Yeah. Once I started getting my heart rate up, that's when I felt it. And so we sparred, I think 4 times out here so far. So I'm ready to go out there and see if the preparation was enough to get me the W on Friday.
All right. Well, listen, Demetrius, we thank you for your time, brother. It's so great to talk to you. So great to see you as well after so long. And honestly, I'm truly inspired by the career that you've had, the success you've had for so long. And just got to mention some of the finishes, some of the techniques you've shown and displayed inside, whether it's a ring or an octagon, has just been ridiculous. I mean, I just saw the finish of your last fight, Moraes, where the 1-2, like the flying knee. Everyone knows about the suplex to the arm bar. I mean, you continue to push boundaries. It's unbelievable. Congrats on a phenomenal career, and all the best on Saturday night.
Thank you, gentlemen. God bless and stay healthy.
Yep. Take care, man. Good luck.
All the best. Good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, Manscaped are now selling beard products. That is correct. They've gone from the waist to the face to help you replace that bulky razor with their brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. They have created the best tools to turn heads with a clean, perfectly groomed and conditioned beard. Finally, tame your mane by going to manscaped.com and use the code Bisping to get 20% off and free shipping. Look, listen, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit, right? It's all about the Beard Hedger for one, let's be honest. It starts with that. This thing is fantastic. It's waterproof. It's got a cordless trimmer. It's got a rotary wheel that gives you 20 different edges. And it's made by Manscaped. So you know that it's going to be top quality. All their products are, let's be honest, that's why they're so successful. With 20 lengths, it's never been easier to maintain that signature look. Plus, the trimmer has a titanium-coated T-blade that is tough on hair, but smooth on your face to leave. Well, it leads to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction, one stroke at a time. The Pro Kit is much more than a trimmer, though. It comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. It has the beard shampoo and the conditioner. All hair is different, by the way, and your facial hair is no different, but it's more coarse and it's easier to damage. That's why the kit is shampoo and conditioner specially designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, and replace your natural oils, promoting beard health. And next up, you get the beard oil. The nutrient-infused oil relieves dryness both on the beard and on the skin beneath, while adding a little shimmer and shine to liven up the look. And then, of course, you cap it off with a beard balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes. Oh, and by the way, we're not done yet. Also got 3 free gifts for you: a beard brush, a comb, and a pair of scissors, because, you know, you got to style that bad boy. Listen, it's fantastic. If you have hair on your face, if you have a beard, even if you don't have a beard and you want to keep it off, this thing is the way to go. I've been out here in Tenerife for weeks now. In fact, I've had it for quite some time when they sent it to me. I've still not charged it. I still haven't charged it. It's still going strong. Anyway, give it a shot. Go to manscaped.com. Use the code Bisping20. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping. That is manscaped.com. The code is Bisping20 for 20% off and free shipping. The Beard Hedger Pro Kit, the premier solution to face grooming. There he is, Mighty Mouse. I mean, did he get any classier than that?
It's a legend.
Yeah.
He's like the type of guy. He's the type of guy that gets, like, when he fights Monday morning or Monday night at the gym, he's got people trying the shit that they've seen him do. Yeah.
On
Saturday night.
Well, that was the big thing.
Influence.
I think it was Horiguchi, and I think there was 1 second, pardon me, left in the fight, because I think he's got the record for the latest finish ever. And he picked him up, slammed him, and as he was going down, jumped into the armbar. Just phenomenal. And everyone
God damn, that guy was from New Mexico too. I don't remember his name.
Oh, was he really?
He's got a huge tattoo on his back.
Well.
He had some weight cutting problems. I think he got cut. But either way, it was a fantastic fight.
Yeah. I wasn't trying that Monday morning because I know I can't do it. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time.
I tried it.
Did you? You nail it?
Never. Not once.
Yeah.
Not once. You got to be good.
You got to be good. You got to be good. Harry Tony, give us a story, brother.
Just looking that up. Was that Wilson Hayes? Maybe
Wilson Hayes. Hey, what has?
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna tell you who it is.
Okay. What has?
I'm usually pretty good about this.
Tito Ortiz been up to lately?
Oh, Tito's gonna be an astronaut. Tito's.
No, he's not.
Have you seen this, Anthony?
Yeah, but please show it again.
I haven't seen it yet because I wanted to save it. Harrington, feel free, stay on the screen, man. Stay on the screen, set it up, give us some context. I haven't seen this yet because he said it's hilarious and I wanted to see it live on the show.
Well, as anybody who's seen Top Gun knows, right, the limit for what a human being can withstand is about 10 Gs, right? That's 10 times Earth's gravity pressing down on your body weight. Tito went into a centrifuge, right? If you remember the classic Roger Moore Bond movie Moonraker, they did this bit where they just spin you around and around, creating the G-force. Tito tried to withstand 9 Gs. And Brian, if you could play that tape.
9 Gs left. Hold on. Lost sound.
Yeah, the sound is just a roar.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, like the best part is the guy's going, hard stop, he's out.
Wow.
And then Tito goes, I was out there for a second.
No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, you were out for a while. Listen, to be honest, I sympathize with him because there's a thing in Las Vegas that you could do, Anthony. It's pretty awesome. When I was coaching that season of The Ultimate Fighter, I got an opportunity. And those Red Bull stunt plays, the little ones where they go super high and they spin like crazy, they do loop-the-loops and all sorts. You can go up in them, right? And you can fly the plane when you get up there in the sky, right? And you dogfight with your friend. And then if a laser hits in the right target, then like artificial smoke comes out the plane. So a pilot takes you up, and then you have a thing. And if you get into trouble or something's going wrong, the pilot takes over automatically. Right. You know what I mean? But you're up there, and there was not much dogfighting going on because I remember this guy went first, and before it was my turn, we were waiting because you go up for like half hour, 45 minutes, and you're checking in, you're getting on your suit, your flight suit and your helmet and all that stuff, and they're giving you the protocol and the instructions. This guy lands and he walks out and he was pale as a ghost. I'm like, you okay there, buddy? You look a little lackluster.
And he was,
I don't think he wanted to tell me, but he went, okay, well, good luck. And I was laughing. Oh, good luck. I went up there, bro. I felt nauseous, like heavy nauseous for the rest of the day. It was bad.
Just from the G's and the turns and the twists and stuff?
Yeah, just all that stuff. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Would you do that, though? You should
yeah. It. Yeah, I would totally do that. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Right up your street. Yeah, no, it is a lot of fun.
I would totally try that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of it. But still, anyway, whatever.
We'll be able to find it.
Tito Ortiz passing out. Have you ever done anything like that?
I've never done anything like that. But Tito still has me blocked on Twitter. Still.
Why?
It's been for years. I don't know. I've ran into him a couple times. I've had a couple drinks with him since then. I think I've told this story before where I keep wanting to ask him every time I see him, but my wife was like, do not bring up the block. Because like he's been like, he's having some cocktails. He's a little loose. And so I just want to be like, hey, Tito, what's up? And then he every single time he's been like, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? And I want to be like, why am I fucking blocked on Twitter?
Yeah, hold on. Who is it? There's a few fighters that have my son Callum blocked on Twitter. I think Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis has Callum blocked on Twitter and Instagram. So I went up to Pettis. Is
Callum being a little asshole?
Well, he can get a little lippy, he's a little smart ass. He's a little smart ass. He is. I mean, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know what I mean? Because I've had to tell him sometimes to rein it in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Pettis at the Apex one day. I went, yo, what's going on, man? I said, you got my son blocked on Twitter. He goes, he must have been talking shit then. I'm like, you're right. Because that's what I say to everybody. He probably was talking shit. All right. Harrington, in terms of the notes, let's have a look. What is the big news in MMA that we've got to get to right now? Tito Ortiz, we just did that. Conor McGregor, we've done that stuff. Go on. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz accusing each other of taking steroids.
So Nate Diaz came out and said, we all know you're on steroids. Let's make this a 12-round fight because they're slated for 8, I believe. Jake Paul responded that he's okay with making it 15. Let's test those cannabis corroded lungs and accuse both him and his brother of doing steroids.
It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
It is stupid.
Listen, I would accuse Nate Diaz of a lot of things. Steroids probably not one of them.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this a lot recently. We talked about Nate Diaz last week with the little scuffle that he got into and the trouble that he's in. I just, let me ask you this, Anthony. Nothing to do with Diaz or Jake Paul. Where was I last night? Oh, I was sitting down at dinner last night. Name drop. Gerard Butler and the director and everyone.
Okay.
Oh, Lordy,
Okay.
Oh.
Just no big deal.
No, well, whatever. It is what it is. Anyway,
Just every day is what I do.
Shut up. So anyway, we're having food, and the steroid talk came up, and someone asked, I forget who it was, said, what percentage of fighters are doing steroids? And that's where I'm going with this. I'm asking you what your opinion is, because I said, I don't think too many in the UFC anymore because of USADA. You would have to be pretty foolish to still do it whilst you're in the testing pool, mind you, caveats. And one guy at the table who's a jiu-jitsu world champion, shout out Antonio, he was like, whoa, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. I'm like, how many times did you fight in the UFC?
Right.
I had 30. Do you know what I mean? So, but what's your thoughts? And shout out Antonio once again, not talking shit there, brother.
I do think that there are still some. I think if you listen, if you have the money and the resources, you can get around it for sure. Yeah. So I've had this conversation a bunch. It's a cat and mouse game. It's these scientists and these biologists and these really, really smart people creating tests that are trying to catch people. So the USADA tests are constantly evolving. They're constantly finding new tests to catch people. So what happens, they have a new test that comes out, and then you see a few people will get caught because they've been, they have found a test that is catching this way of doing it. So the problem is it's very similar to the Lance Armstrong thing. Until there's more money and it's different in MMA because there's a big gap. There's a pay gap, right? The lower level guys and the guys in the prelims and the newer guys in the UFC don't have the money to even use PEDs because they don't have the ability to hire the people that it takes to get around the test. But in terms of like kind of the Lance Armstrong thing, Lance Armstrong said himself, until there's more money in creating the test and catching people than there is and getting away with it, you can be this biologist or this chemist in college, or that's what you're going to college for. Then you can graduate and your options are limited. So you can go, work at a university somewhere creating these tests and maybe you make $150,000 a year, or you can get put on the payroll with some crazy rich boxer or MMA fighter. Maybe that guy pays you $250 and all you got to do is make sure he doesn't fail. So are there people that are still doing it? For sure. Is there a bunch? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, we know outside of the testing pool, there's a couple of people that are doing it.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah. But see, I was always naive. Even when I was fighting, I always assumed that people weren't. I'm talking way back in the day when all it was, I remember
rampant back then.
It was the main event only had a piss test on the night, But in my mind, I was like, well, we get tested. And that is just utter ignorance on my behalf and on the behalf of the team that I were with, because my job's to fight. It's not my job to know all the science and the ins and outs of all that type of things. But yeah, I was very naive. And now even still, maybe I'm still naive because I think it's almost eradicated. But you're right. Certain people, like back in the day, like Vito.
I would say tiny percentage of people, not many, because it's too hard, it's too expensive, and it's too risky. The 2 years at any point in your career is a long time, but especially as you get higher in the divisions and you get a little bit older, 2 years is a death sentence for a lot of people.
See, I know you're going
to bring up Vitor.
No, I wasn't necessarily going to shit on Vitor.
I don't know if you know this, but Vitor doesn't like you.
How do you know?
He thinks that you lie. I heard this the other day. Vitor and I have a mutual friend.
Go on. This is going to be good because guess what? He's going to be on this film.
Oh no! Yeah. So he thinks that you just slander him because it's not the steroids that you were already blind. Well, you were already blind, allegedly. Your eye was already fucked up before, so he didn't do that. That was what.
That's a new one, though. I'll give him top marks for originality. Yeah. I didn't know what he was going to say. Hey, listen, do you know what? To be fair, last night, because I do a YouTube channel, and I did a video, top 5 biggest cheats, and number 1 was Vitor, and like,
of course, it was.
Yeah, number one was Vito, but I was watching it back, and like it's from a year ago because I've been out here and I haven't been doing the content. So my channel manager like re-uploaded it just for something to go up. So I happened to watch it again, and I was like, I'm going pretty goddamn hard here. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe
So
that's
what?
a bit. It's a lot. It's
So
a
what?
lot.
So what?
Yeah. So what? So what?
So what?
You are a
I mean,
cheating bastard. I lost a goddamn eye.
I don't know anything about Vitor. I hear that he's a pretty nice guy. Here he's got a kid that's going to go play Division I football. Apparently he's a monster quarterback. Apparently he's like one of the best in the nation. But at the end of the day, like Google before and after Vitor Belfort TRT. Like just take a look at the picture. Like it is what it is. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but like you did. It is what it is.
Rampantly. He wasn't the only one though. There was many people.
Then there was
They were
people
all
doing it way before it was even really kind of shed a light on it. Like, you know, I would never ever want to shit on Dan Henderson just because he's done a lot in the sport, but like he was on the TRT thing before anyone even knew what it was.
Yeah,
no one had any idea what it was.
No, I know, and I had no idea either. Let me tell you, when he knocked my head clean off, you know, because when I got into this sport, you know, on the regional scene in the UK, the small gyms, a lot of fighters, you know, like the UK scene, you know, there's a lot of shows that aren't professionally run, shall we say? I mean, maybe it's changed a lot now. I'm going back to 2004, 5. You know, when I was around that scene.
Right.
It's 2023 now. Wow, it's a long time ago. So it's probably got better. But there was all kinds of characters and juice heads and thugs and gangsters and criminals. It was literally, you know, like some of the promotions were run by drug dealers and they were using it to launder the money. What I mean? To wash it and make it clean. And obviously around that scene, there was all kinds of people on steroids. You know what I mean? You can clearly see it. And yes, I was offered it, of course. You know what I mean? I'm like, no way. I'm going to the UFC. I'm not here trying to be a legend in my hometown. I'm not trying to prove that I'm a badass and a tough guy in front of 500 people or 250 people in a sports hall. I'm trying to get there. And if I get there and I test positive, then it's going to blow it out the window for me anyway. I'm not even going to get started. And on top of that, I like to look at myself in the mirror. So I was never about that. But Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, who's on steroids if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one, well, it's definitely not Nate Diaz.
It's Nate Diaz.
It ain't Diaz.
Although a fool will tell you, just based on the musculature, is not enough.
That's true. I just, even the way he competes, he's never been fast. He's never had real power in his hands. Although if I was going to pick one that he was on, it would definitely be like EPO or something. Cause that guy's got insane cardio. It's weird.
He's got insane cardio. And that's what Jake's,
especially for as much weed as he smokes.
What did he say? Those cannabis destroyed lungs or something like that. It's like, bro, you got no idea. Diaz is going to out cardio you all day long.
Right. He's going to out cardio you and out smoke you.
Harrington, some Americans have been robbed at gunpoint in Sudan, I believe.
It's a good story.
Not sure what happened.
Nicely delivered as well.
It goes even further than that. So there's been unrest, let's say, in the Sudan, right? It's a full-on civil war.
More than unrest. And as I said, I've got I've got 2 English TV channels. One of them is BBC News. I like BBC News. It's awful what's happening in Sudan. It's all they cover. I'm very up to date on it because it's all they show. I'd like a little bit of tech segment or something. Do you know what I mean? It's just Sudan.
What's going on?
Do you know what's going on out there?
No, I don't. I'm pretty like shelled into what I got going on right now.
So there's been and we'll get to you, Harrington, at least stay on the screen. There's been a military coup. So there's been like if I'm not wrong, a dictator, for want of a better word, that's been running the country for like the last 20 years or so. A military uprising has overthrown it. And then, so now there's the actual army, and then there's the military organization, like the civilians. They're both fighting for control now. Who's going to run the country?
So like the military versus the civilians.
Yeah, correct. Kind of. So they're
who's in the right?
They're
Who's on the right?
well, I mean, you tell me. They're the army. They're the people that overthrown them. They're both clamoring for control now. I think thousands of people, civilians, have died. Bloody, it is messed up. There's people dying every single day. People haven't got food to eat. People are killing their own pets so that their families can eat. You know what I mean? The infrastructure of the country has just gone to utter shit. There's mass evacuations. You know, British citizens that are living there, they're all getting flown out. It's a dire situation.
Bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I tell you what. Sorry, Harry. The world's a mess right now. I mean, we've got the war in Ukraine. We've got this stuff in Sudan. You've got the Middle East, Israel and stuff. That's always kicking off with the Palestinians. The trouble around the world, man, it is just, it's bad.
There's so much. Obviously, we don't have any wars or crazy shit like that going on here. But I see, you scroll through social media. And listen, I'm not going to get on a soapbox and talk about politics and all the other bullshit. But what I do see is like crazy division. And people who seem to give a lot of shits about a lot of shit. Like, there's just a lot of stuff I don't fucking care that much about. Like I'm probably going to lose some fans here, but like the whole Bud Light thing when they were like they were boycotting Bud Light over some whatever. Like, I like beer and I don't really give a shit. Like, I just don't care about how someone else lives their life that doesn't affect me. I just don't.
Well said.
It doesn't affect me. I don't give a what you do. You want to wear a dress and be a girl? That's fine with me. I'm down. Yep. I'm down with it. Whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. You want me to call you whatever? I'll call you whatever the fuck you want because I don't care. Doesn't hurt me in the least.
We're not going to lose any. I failed to see
shit that affects me. If it affects me and my family, then I'll have an opinion about it. But if it doesn't, I don't give a fuck. I
fail to see a world where you lose fans for saying that because that is very, very.
That's what I'm saying. The world's a crazy place. Like
the world is a crazy place.
So angry about everything. It's like.
But going back to your original point, Anthony, the thing is, because you do see so many people, and it's a certain type of people. They're getting upset over everything, and they're pretending to give a shit about everything, but they don't really. They're posturing on social media. They are social justice warriors that don't do a damn thing to help any of the situations apart from lecture and rant at people on Twitter and on social media and pretend to be a do-gooder. And I'm sure they do have good intentions deep down. Well, I'm sure they not even deep down, but judging people and slandering people and talking crap and posturing on social media isn't helping a goddamn thing.
Not at all.
You know?
Lots of evil people have had very good intentions historically.
Oh yeah.
That's
Give
fair.
me some examples, Brian.
I'm not going to.
It's probably good because I was like, I thought of a couple people that thought they had really good intentions at the time and they turned out to be fucking monsters.
Are you going to tell me that Hitler was a good dude?
No, I wasn't going to do that.
But he thought he was a good dude. That's the problem. But he thought he was doing the right thing.
But look at like the communist revolution in China. That was all for equity and equality and everybody was going to be awesome. But turns out to make that happen, you also have to kill 100 million people. So
look at Stalin, dude. He made 100 years of industrial upgrades in the span of 20 years, and it only cost the lives of few million people.
Yeah. Wow. So getting back to the original thing, Harrington, tell us about this gentleman couple, whoever it was in Sudan.
Yeah, so this is actually a sad story. This is a U.S.-born doctor whose parents lived in the Sudan, right? So this guy, his father was disabled. He was confined to a wheelchair. So he split a lot of his time between the Sudan and the United States. He actually was quoted as saying, the U.S. has a good healthcare system. One extra doctor here or there isn't going to make a difference. But I'm making a difference, boots on the ground in Sudan right now. War hit the capital where his family was living. And he was going around just treating people, right? Like people who are shot in the street, whatever the case may be. Him and a bunch of other doctors were providing medical aid. Because the war came through the town and there's destabilization, it's essentially martial law right now. That's left it open for a lot of gangs of like roving thugs who are just coming around and war profiteering. And he was surrounded in his yard by a bunch of people who were trying to rob him, and he got killed standing his ground. So sad.
So he's out there in Sudan. He's giving up his time, his energy, his skills, living in a war-torn country, trying to help people. And some people come up and shoot him, because you see that and it's getting dark here. Hold on, I'm going to turn the light on.
346 minutes later.
What I was going to say, you always see that, don't you? Whenever there's some political unrest, and I'm not talking about what happened in Sudan because that's bloody awful. Yeah. But going back to what we were saying before, there's some kind of tension, shall we say, political or whatever you want to call it. And then people take to the streets and start smashing things up and looting. Do you know what I mean?
Don't even get me going on that.
Like they're just scumbags.
I am so mad about how you're treating me. So I'm going to fuck up my own shit. Like, that makes no sense.
I'm going to go out and smash up storefront windows like Bilal Muhammad's father. You see, remember what happened there?
Yeah. That's what I don't get. Like, you're so mad at something. Like, if you're going to go attack something, just attack that thing. Whatever you're mad about, attack that thing. If you're going to do it at all. Like, but, like, again, I'm trying to tiptoe a little bit, but like, when the George Floyd thing happened and then there's people all over the country looting, like, why are we tearing down our own grocery stores and attacking our own people, like, for something that happened in Minnesota? That doesn't make, like, why are people in Omaha rioting about, like, in attacking people over something that happened in Minnesota? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
well, I guess one argument might be is that they're just upset and they want to show that they want to, show how angry they are at the situation, the system.
It sounds like my kids when they get
they're
grounded.
just lashing out. Yeah, but it's not constructive. It's not going to help.
No, it's not helping anybody
in any way. Me and Hampton and Brian were talking about this before we started the show, Anthony, because I've been out in the sun here today. It doesn't look like it now, but I got sunburned and I had factor 30 on my face. You have a black father and a white mother. Do you suffer from sunburn, or do you have like some kind of superhero pigmentation?
No, I burn really bad one time, like at the beginning of the summer. And then after that, I just get dark as shit. Yeah. I get so tan. My kids do too. Easy. Yeah. Well, two of my kids are like really like brown, like they're pretty dark. And then two of them are super white, like really, really pale. It's the weirdest thing. But the two that do get tan, they get like, they look like full on little black girls.
Yeah. Tomorrow I've got, it's one of my only scenes in daylight. The rest of it's at night. I'm honestly, I don't look like it here, but I am like a beetroot and my face is killing me.
You're close to being done, right?
Say again?
You're
yeah. I fly home in 2 weeks.
Nice.
2 days. 2 days.
2 days. I was like, 2 days.
2 weeks. No, I'll be home.
We're back on schedule.
I'll be home Friday. Yes, we will be back on schedule. A lot of people talking crap online. It's like, bro, Anthony's training for a fight. I'm on the other side of the world. We'll be trying to do some things. Right. We're still doing 2 shows. We're still getting.
We're doing pretty good. Like, they're a little bit off, and maybe we miss one here and there. But for two guys that are in 2 different parts of the world on 2 different time zones with 2 completely different schedules. Mine's during the day. Yours is at night mostly. It's tough. It's hard.
Yeah, it is tough. And I've been working nights as well. Okay, let's talk about HTLT supplements. Listen, I'm on the go. I'm living out of a hotel room in a suitcase, but I know that I'm putting in all the nutrients that my body requires, okay? They have all kinds of stuff. They got the multivitamin, which I'm using, so it gives you all the nutrients, as I say. They got the pre-workout, which is fantastic. I'm telling you, I'm flying through these workouts. I'm working out like a beast. I'm losing weight. And that's partly due to the Shred, which is another one of their, it's a metabolism boosting supplement, makes you feel great. You don't feel wired. It's not like you've had 6 cups of coffees or 5 Red Bulls or anything like that. You just feel good. You feel energetic. The workouts fly by. And this is all, it's backed by science in over a dozen human trials, all showing clear benefits from their supplements, whether it be sleep, mood, energy, performance, well-being, and as I say, the weight loss. Now, it's not specific to just one sport or sportsmen or cardio only. It's simply taking it will get you to a place of overall improvement, confidence, and motivation. It isn't a supplement just for the hardcore athlete, as I said, but anyone, including a couch potato who has trouble even getting up to exercise. You want to take care of yourself. You want to get moving, most importantly. If you are a couch potato, stop doing that. Stop eating crap. Start putting good stuff in your body and start with a multivitamin. We do not get enough nutrients into our system. It is as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It really is. And HTLT, these are quality supplements, okay? So whether you just want the nutrients from the multivit, you want to lose a bit of weight with a shred, you want to work out harder in the gym with the pre-workout, they have a whole bunch of supplements. So check out the website, which is htltsubs.com, to check out everything, as I say, from the pre-workout, the protein, that's delicious, by the way, and all the other supplements that they have. Make sure you use the promo code Bisping for 10% off. Now, once again, that is htltsubs.com. The code is Bisping, but only if you want 10% off. All right, let's get back into the show. All right, we'll probably get to some questions in just a second. I know you're probably feeling pretty exhausted, Anthony. I just want to talk about...
Time to pack, yo.
Is it... Oh, are you done? You said you got one more session?
I do tomorrow. Well, I got two. Which kind of sucks because I have a 8-hour drive. So I have my team training session, which is my favorite day of the week. It's a jiu-jitsu, like grappling, kind of MMA grappling. So we do a lot of hard rounds, which is fun. Yeah. And then after that, I'll chill out, come back here at the house and pack up all my stuff. And then I got a hard conditioning day at strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And then I got to drive 8 hours, which sucks.
Oh God, that is not nice. Just take the Jet Suite Expo. Talking about grappling and stuff, I mentioned him before, Antonio, this guy out here, he runs some jiu-jitsu schools in England. Mm-hmm. He's just obsessed with jiu-jitsu. He's got about 3 different schools. If you're in the Bristol area, look out for Antonio Bristoff. But all he wants to do is roll jiu-jitsu. And he keeps trying to roll with me. Do you know what I mean? And it's it's okay. He's Portuguese. It's okay. If you get me and you tap me, when I tap you, let me go. And he's being all humble. Do you know what I mean?
But he's probably a monster.
Oh yeah. He's 240 pounds. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, look, listen, dickhead. I know what you're trying to do. You're setting me up for a fall. He's like, Saturday, we go down to my friend's school. We roll on the mats. We take it easy. And I'm like, the problem is with that? It always starts off like that. Mm-hmm. It always starts off like that. And my competitiveness, my ego can't help it. And it will step up, it will step up, it will step up. And then I get injured because my back's destroyed. You know what I mean?
Right. Probably just avoid that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My ego was in play today.
Tell me the story.
Well, big ass Rob Wilkinson.
He's a big fella.
He's a big dude. We were grappling and had to start in a bad position. And he just immediately, as soon as the bell rings, he ends up in an arm triangle. And I no, not fucking tapping. You're going to put me to sleep. You have to put me out. Ain't happening. I was gurgling. Just I ended up getting out of it. But afterwards, I was seeing little white lights, and then the round ended and he was like, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, just trying to make sure that I know where I'm at here." And he was like, "You were gurgling for a really long time." And I was like, "I know."
It's so funny because
I'm such a dumbass.
Yeah, no, it's so funny though, because people that don't know, that's what happens right before you go unconscious. Mm-hmm. You see that these little little dots. It's like a glitch in the matrix. Do you know what I mean? It's all coming apart. You're like, oh, and then you go, and then you don't know what the hell happened. It's been a while since I felt those.
I was close. It was just a little, and in your whole body feels warm. I was right there.
I forgot about that. You feel warm. You're dizzy. You're confused as hell. You're like, but your ego inside, you don't talk about it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah. He was like, "You were good?" Yeah, I was there. But I could just, the little bit of a gurgle was just a tiny bit of air in and out that I was barely getting. Yeah. So I was just barely able to stay up.
You were George gurgling. George Gurgel. Is it Jorge Gurgel? Whatever.
George Gurgel.
Gurgel. There you go.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He's a commentator. He's the translator. for Portuguese and stuff. Yeah, he's often Octagon side. So I see him quite a lot. Right. If you have questions, send them in to bympod@gmail.com. You know the drill by now. We're going to do a few questions. We're going to give you some answers, but you're going to send them in. We're going to answer them for you. Harrington.
If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure you subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, positive review. It helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the show and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops. Congratulations to you boys, 200,000. So thank you for everyone who is subscribed already. Also, if you want to catch over 400 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Brand new website. Use the promo code BYM. Get yourself a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
So what do we have, Brian?
All right. So
this lamp. Whatever. It's the end of the show.
Yeah,
I got mood lighting. It's okay.
It's all right.
First question here today is from Mr. Dan Hackey.
Hey, BYM crew, this is Dan from Decatur, Georgia, and I got a question. Hopefully Michael and Anthony can elaborate on this, and that is, could you talk about the money fight or the red panty night? It's my understanding that UFC fighters are all under contract, so that sets their pay per fight, but yet you hear lots of talk about money fights or red panty nights. So are fighters constantly trying to renegotiate their contracts, or are there clauses in their contracts for perhaps late notice fights, title fights, something like that, where they can renegotiate? Because it kind of defeats the purpose of a contract if everybody's trying to renegotiate every fight, which I hope the fighters get as much money as they can, but just like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yep.
Keep up the good work. And Harrington, congratulations on fatherhood. It's been very interesting over the past couple of years listening to your progress from sleeping on a bench, trading sex for a place to stay, to being an upright father. And I just want to tell you something that you'll be hearing from your daughter soon enough. Yourself.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we get it.
Yeah. Harrington's great. We fucking know.
Yeah, Harrington's great. We know. But then it was like, you went from trading sex for accommodation. I'm like, okay, no, let this run. I'm like, this can go a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll hear what he has to say.
Yeah, well, hear what you have to say if you're going to talk crap about Harrington, which we love Harrington, by the way. Everyone still thinks I give him shit, which we do, but that's how you show affection. So, money fights, red panty night, all that stuff. I think there's a big misconception there. He said it perfectly. We are contracted. And I'm going to sound like a company man when I say this, okay? But it is true what I'm about to say. Obviously, you have a contract, whether that's 3 fights, 6 fights, 8 fights, whatever it is. And you have to adhere to that contract. You know, now, for every fight, there is an individual bout agreement. And let's say if you're fighting someone of the magnitude of a Conor McGregor, then maybe if the UFC feel like it at the end of the day, let's be honest, you can negotiate some extra money, but they don't have to, because as our friend said, you're under contract. And I've had negotiations with Dana over the years, and his answer would be, Mike, you have a contract. And he's absolutely right. And obviously at the time when I was fighting and I wanted more money, of course I did. We always want more money, but we do sign a contract, Yeah. And to be fair, now that I've taken my emotions out of it, and people will say, no, it's now because you're not fighting, and now because you're a company man. It's like, no, this is the reality of it. Now that I've taken my emotions out of it and my ego isn't involved, there's a contract that has to be warranted on both sides. I'd certainly have something to say if they were to call me up and say, you know what, coming into this fight, Mike, the opponent's not that hard, so we're gonna drop it down by 30%, and we're not gonna fly you business class, and we're not gonna do this, and I'd be like, whoa, I've got a goddamn contract. And that's exactly, and as I say, I know this goes against lobbying fighter pay. I'm always lobbying for fighter pay. I want all fighters to get paid the most amount of money. So in some situations you can, if the UFC basically feel like it. But generally, if you sign a contract, you kind of got to be a man and stick to it. Yeah,
you do. There are some situations. Again, I'm not trying to be the company guy here, but I've been paid significantly more money than the UFC has contractually owed me. So
Same.
Significantly.
Same.
I can't bitch and complain on it. So I would never say anything that's going to like shit on the UFC because they paid me way more money than they owe me. But there are situations where
I don't think there's ever been a fight, where I haven't been paid more than what I was contracted for. Sorry, Anthony. I just wanted to
it's never really happened. So, I guess my point is there are certain situations that, I would consider, the money fights or the red painting nights. And those are like some special circumstances. There's been times where, they like the Shogun fight. I took it on like 6 days notice all the way in Hamburg, Germany against the number 8 dude in the world coming in unranked. And initially I was like, that's a tough fight on 6 days notice. Like, so they were like, well, here, let's throw you a little something, a little bit of motivation. Like, okay, I'll go. You know what I mean? Like there's situations like that because sometimes you have to be motivated to go do something. Sometimes you're like, I don't know. I really don't feel like fighting around that time of year or that style. And they'll say, oh, we'll slide you a little something. And you're like, I feel like it now, like there's those situations. I think there's, situations like, Masvidal, I think cashed in on some, I think Nate Diaz was a beneficiary of that too, where you cash in on a situation where you kind of got the UFC bent over a barrel where Conor McGregor has no opponent. They can't get anyone that quick. It's on like 5 days notice or super short notice. And they need you to fight Conor McGregor. Well, you're in a fantastic situation to get yourself into a red painting night. You get a huge paycheck and maybe you sign a new deal that's much more, lucrative than maybe it would have been.
You're in the position of bargaining power there.
Right. They need something. They need you more than you need them at that point and in that situation. So that does happen. I think there's some champions, like guys like Stipe, I think are in positions where they do tend to negotiate individual fights. I'm sure Conor probably does. The fight, the size of the fight, how well they think it'll sell will change kind of what the pay is. But generally, we're all contracted, and that's just what you get.
No, you said it perfectly, because there's definitely times and there's definitely guys, and I'm not saying that I didn't do that. Every time I'd be like asking for more money. And then it'd be like, Mike, you got a contract that you signed. You were very happy when you signed it. As you say,
but that was before.
That was before. I've won more fights since then. Come on, bro. So good question though, and it is an interesting one for people that don't know much about that side of things. Brian is dead. He's left the building.
Yeah, what happened?
I lost my screen for a second. I'm back.
I'm getting sick of that excuse, Brian.
Right. I'm sorry. I'll cut something off next time. This next question we got is from 138 MMA.
All right.
138 MMA here. When you were kids, growing up, what was your dream job? For me, it was a game show host. Obviously, I'm not a game show host now because you probably would have seen me on TV, but that was what I wanted to be growing up. 6, 7, 8 years old, thought game show host would be the coolest gosh darn job in the world. But what about you guys? I want to hear what you guys wanted to be when you grew up, and did any even make it to there? If so, congrats. Most of us don't get it. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Hopefully this one gets to you and that mole doesn't get it.
He wanted to be a gay show host?
Game show host.
No, I know.
Oh, I was like, God damn, Mike.
I'm like, you look like you'd make a good one. It's a joke, everybody. It's a joke. I'm like, you're killing the game. So the jokes just ride themselves. I couldn't resist. So Anthony, growing up, a young lad.
I always wanted to be a cop. Always. I kind of still do, to be honest with you. It's never really changed. But not like a regular cop. Like I'm not writing speeding tickets and shit like that. I want to be like a detective or like a SWAT team guy. I just want to do cool shit.
See, that is cool though. That is cool.
I want to do cool. I got a bunch of friends that they're not just regular cops, but they're on SWAT teams and special units and gang units. And they're always, every time I talk to them, they're just doing super cool shit all the time. So I still.
A friend of mine, Warren, I was with him in Australia recently when the fight was on in Perth. That's what he does. He's on the SWAT team in England.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because, the general, cops in America, are way more badass than the average cop in England. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Brian, bring up a picture of a policeman in England. They have the big stupid hats on. They have a truncheon, as the weapon. A truncheon.
What's that?
A baton. A baton.
A stick.
They have a little billy stick. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen anyone use one. They don't have guns. They might have a bit of mace on them or something. Do you know what I mean? And like in the small towns, they're kids. They're dipshits. They get no respect. They've got to go into bad situations. You know what I mean? Against hardened criminals that, listen, the organized.
Look at that stupid hat, though.
Oh, I know.
Like you're not arresting me, nerd. Take that hat off before you talk to me. Fuck off.
I will kick that off your head.
Give me that damn stick too.
They got to go into tough situations with criminals that are armed, that have guns, with nothing, with no weapons whatsoever.
That's so stupid.
It is. But in the US, I'm not talking about all cops, but some cops, you can straight away, they've got an edge to them. They've got a gun on the side of their hip. You know what I mean? You're like, I better respect this motherfucker because this is not, as you call it, the Bobby on the beat in Clitheroe.
No, that guy's wife probably pissed him off. What did you want to do?
Well, funnily enough, Rebecca always said that I'd make a good cop. And I thought, and I got an offer a while ago to be a sheriff. But anyway, it was just talk in the sun. It wasn't a real one. Growing up, well, my youngest memory, I wanted to be a builder because I wanted to build my mum a house.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cute.
I wanted to be a builder because I wanted to build Kathleen Bisping a house. And then I wanted to be a martial artist. I wanted to be a fighter. But that was only when I got a little bit older, like 10 or something.
Yeah. I didn't have, once I was like 10, 11, 12, other than the cop thing, which kind of seemed like a dream, I don't even have any idea. No. And then by the time I was 15, 16, I didn't give a damn about martial arts anymore. And I didn't care. I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to be a DJ Mikey B, didn't really work out. I was a DJ, but you didn't make $1 billion.
No, I didn't make jack shit. Oh God, did not make much at all. 70 pounds. Anyway, one more question, and then we'll let Anthony in his way because no doubt you're exhausted.
All right, so our final question.
Hold on, Brian. What did you want to be growing up?
I wanted to either be I wanted to be Howard Stern when I was a little kid, and then I wanted to be a rock star when I was a little older, and neither of those quite worked out.
And then we'll ask Harrington, although I'm pretty sure I know the question. He achieved his ultimate goal. He wanted to be a male prostitute. That happened. But Harrington, can we hear it from the horse's mouth?
Did I miss something? When did Harrington? Did I miss something here? Did I miss a story? I must have missed a story before I was a part of the podcast. Were you out many sucking dick for money or something?
No, not quite. Just very large Australian women.
No, he did. He would go back to not for money, just for a place to stay.
I mean, that's close enough.
Yeah. Need some Wi-Fi, got to edit a podcast. You make some phone calls you're not proud of. It is what it is.
Hey, you were a player, bro.
Whatever, man. The game gets everybody.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
For Wi-Fi.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Since I was as young as I can remember, I wanted to be a broadcaster. Mission accomplished.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Harrington, you do a phenomenal job, as do you as well, Brian. But yeah, you do. You got a smooth delivery, Harrington. So congratulations. All right, we'll do one more question, and then we'll all get on our way.
All right, this is Connor Liu, and he's asking about Usman Edwards 3.
Hey guys, this is Connor calling in from Denver. Huge fan of the pod. Been meaning to put in a question for some time now, but just getting to it. Hope to do more in the future as well. My first question is about Usman Edwards 3, and I actually wrote this down. So at the beginning of round 2, if you'll remember, in Edwards versus Usman 3, there was a weird moment where Usman was already advancing just before Herb Dean started the fight. Rocky kind of backed up with his hands in protest, if you remember that, and Usman kind of bobbed around. He was being aggressive like he normally does, taking the center of the octagon. could have engaged, but right then Herb broke them up. What would have happened if Herb Dean was about to pull them apart? One of them, likely Usman, possibly Edwards, landed a huge fight-ending shot. Would it count as a KO win? The clock was running. It never stopped running. I think it would have been in bad taste, but I think the victory would have been legit per the rules, because once the horn sounds, you're good to go. And I think Leon needs to protect himself no matter what there. So just curious if there's been any other, I mean, I've seen other times where a fighter has to protect himself. They've got knocked out. I think it counts. So just curious what that would have been like in such a huge title fight. Love the pod. Would love to see Costa, Chimaev, and what's the other fight? Burns and Covington. I think that would be sick. But love the pod and love you guys. Harrington, congrats on the baby. And hope to put some more questions in soon. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the questions. So that was a very specific question, and that's
so specific.
Specific time.
Yeah.
I have no recollection of that.
I do, actually.
So many fights.
Because I thought the same thing.
Go on, explain it for us.
No, I didn't think the same thing of a fight-ending strike would have happened. But that happens to me a lot, because what I'm trying to do is just pay attention, even in the Johnny Walker fight. As soon as the referee will say, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" I will always start creeping to the center.
I creep. I start creeping. I get pushed back. Get back.
And I almost get caught every time, but I'll try, because there's been a couple times, over the years that I haven't. It's so much easier, obviously, to steal the center of the octagon if you want to be in the center. So for people that don't quite understand this, positioning and foot position in the octagon is huge. If I can make my opponent have to work around me and I can dictate where he goes by taking the center of the octagon, you're just in a much better position positionally. As silly as that sounds. If you're the guy on the outside and you're constantly having to work your way into him and you're trying to take the center, the guy in the center of the octagon is typically the person leading the dance. So I do creep every single time. So I remember, especially being a wrestler, being a dominant forward pressure guy, looking to push him up against the fence, Usman was very much creeping. When Herb Dean would turn around and look at Edwards, Usman was like, he's like, take a couple steps and like trying to creep his way in. Well, then Leon was so smart, because he was like, no, that motherfucker's creeping over here already. You better back him up, because that's not fair. We need to start in the same spot. If you're Leon Edwards, that just tells me like how high his fight IQ was in that moment. Because I don't know that I would notice someone creeping on me, because I'm too busy trying to cheat myself. So I'm already trying to cheat the system a little bit and try to game it a little bit and get in the middle. So I'm not sure that I would notice someone else creeping my way. And there's a little bit of gamesmanship there too. Like, as soon as the bell rings, you want to hurry up and get to the middle real quick. And like, I fucking got it, bitch. Like there's that kind of a little, I won that. I took that right away from you. So, or I'm in more of a rush to engage with you than you are with me. It's a gamesmanship thing. But I do remember thinking how smart it was of Leon to kind of snitch on Usman a little bit and say, no, he's got to start all the way back to the fence, just like I do, because if he starts halfway to the center already, Leon's already behind.
Yeah. Well spotted, because I never noticed that one. But you can't blame either man, really. You know what I mean?
You can't. No, we all do it.
It's not cheating. If you get away with it and the referee doesn't notice it, that's not cheating, in my opinion. And just like, that's got to be the most timid of all offenses, creeping forward ever so slightly, because you got to be behind that black line. But you see it all the time, Herb. These guys, get back. And it's for that reason. It's not because, I have to fight now. Hold me back. It's like, no. I'm trying to establish dominance. I want the center of that goddamn octagon. I want to be owning this real estate. And whoever gets there first, that's why you see some people, they sprint right to the middle and then they boom there. Now, fair enough. You might force the guy back, you clinch and they reverse you. And it was all for nothing. But still, it's those little
mind
tiny
games.
Little things that go through in your mind. I want to be the first to get there.
Right. Let me ask you. Fights are small battles. You win the hand fighting battle on the fence for a second, and like, I won that battle, or I won the real estate battle. Now I'm like, it's tiny little wins throughout the fight are kind of how we think.
let me ask you this. I remember I used to do this a lot, and I don't know why this would used to bother me. And I guess we'll end on this because it's getting darker and darker, and I'm hungrier and hungrier. The restaurants are closing soon. Our pets' heads are falling off. I haven't eaten. They're all having fun. All the cast and crew and the stars.
Oh, they probably have drinks too.
Oh, I'm not drinking.
You're not drinking?
I mean, I've had a few while I've been there, but not tonight. No. This used to get me every time. And it just shows, like, I think my last few fights I wasn't like this, but a lot of the time I was. And it shows the anxiety and the nerves and the pressure of your mind. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the time, I don't know if I was fighting in England or whatever, or whatever it is, I think both guys have it, or is it maybe just one guy? That final shot on one of the fighters, whoever's in the red corner. The red corner gets it.
Yeah.
And so your opponent is cool. He can chill. But I've still got a camera in my face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a distraction. The camera is like literally that far away from your face. And it's all you can see. And then in my mind, I would just see, there's always those cables from the cameras everywhere. Remember, you know, the big ass bloody cables.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was always like, move the cable, thinking I'm going to trip over it. Well, of course, when the camera leaves, the cable's going to go with it. Did you ever had those thoughts?
No, I almost did trip over the cable, though. I think I was fighting, maybe it was Jones, but I don't know what happened. I was walking and the camera guy took off. Well, there was another person that's holding it, it kind of guides them around, and it got completely stuck between my legs. And so I'm like, I'm like about to fight for the title. It was I think it was John, and I couldn't get over it. Like I was, I don't know. I'm an elite level athlete. I can't step over a cable 1 foot off the fucking ground.
I have that almost every time when I go to interview a fighter, and then all the cameras are there and the bloody cables. I'm tripping up. I'm like, yo, bro, get out of the way. Yeah, anyway, that's it. It's dark. It's pitch black. It's late. Anthony's tired. I'm tired. Thank you all for watching the show. What are you going to eat real quick?
I think I'm going to go eat sushi for lunch.
I've got a little traditional Spanish place owned by a mother and a son right across the street.
Love that.
Gonna get stuck into these chorizo omelets, I do believe. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back on Thursday with a show. Much love. Adios.